Why do people think brunettes are smarter? And what is the relationship between brown hair and Parkinson's disease? Blondes might have more fun, but there are some bright sides to having dark hair. Hairstylists praise clients with thick hair for a reason. While it may take double the amount of time to style, a thick mane of hair appears healthier and more youthful than thin hair. In fact, those with brunette hair tend to have thicker strands than their blonde and red-haired counterparts. On the flip side, those with blonde hair typically have greater hair density, so both blonde and brunette strands have their own superpowers. Who knew? Moreover, darker hair typically looks silkier than lighter hair colors, especially in the sun. Colorist Becky Raynard told Women's Health, "Lighter strands tend to be more hollow, absorbing light instead of reflecting it." In other words, brown hair looks radiant while soaking in the sunshine, and you don't have to worry about your brunette tresses appearing lifeless or dull. It's a common fact that hair color affects attractiveness, and attraction influences the way people perceive and treat you. For instance, a 2017 study published in the Journal of Social Psychology found that men mentally link blonde hair with youth, health, and attractiveness. In other words, men are more likely to approach blondes at the bar.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
However, a 2011 study published in the Scandinavian Journal of Psychology indicates that although men were more likely to approach women with blonde hair, this may have more to do with the fact that men perceive them as needy, which likely reduces the chance of rejection. In the same study, researchers found that men rated brunettes higher for physical attraction, intelligence, approachability, and competence. On the other hand, study participants also associated brunettes with being more haughty than those with blonde or red hair.
I'm just asking that you love me no matter what.
What am I, Jesus?
The implications of these studies contribute to the theory that men take brunettes more seriously. And by this, we mean that men are more likely to choose a woman with brown hair over blonde or red when seeking to enter a serious relationship. In fact, according to a study conducted by United Kingdom retailer Superdrug, many men believe that women with brunette locks are better life partners as they're seen as more sensible. Of the 1,000 men who participated in the poll, 54% elected brunettes as wifey material.
I feel like I don't meet people like you very often.
Many people perceive those with brunette hair as more intelligent, but this isn't true at all, according to a 2016 study conducted by The Ohio State University. The study found that white women with blonde hair had an average IQ of 103.2, slightly higher than brown-haired women with an average of 102.7. That said, people continue to describe brunettes as more intelligent and independent, and although these perceptions are rooted in stereotypes, they hold power within social settings and interactions, including in personal relationships and the office. For instance, research conducted by Superdrug revealed that 62% of people believe brunettes are better workers compared to blondes. Superdrug representative Dan Hadley told the Daily Mail, "The study shows brunettes do seem to be taken more seriously in the workplace, which is causing a rise in fair-headed women darkening their locks."
I see a great deal of myself in you.
Folks with brunette hair often complain about growing bored of their hair. Sometimes they turn to blonde highlights, balayages, or even root-to-tip transformations to mix things up. However, frequent color appointments expose the hair to harsh chemicals, especially when bleach is involved. Dyeing your hair blonde, for instance, can seriously damage your hair's cuticles and cause brittleness and breakage. On the flip side, those with brown hair produce eumelanin, a form of melanin responsible for hair's dark pigment that also helps shield hair from damage. Hairstylist Nikki Goddard told Healthline, "Indeed, melanin plays a protective role. Larger quantities of eumelanin protect hair against high levels of exposure to the sun and its unwanted consequences such as drying out and brittleness. In this case, there's a huge incentive to avoid frequent coloring with bleach to retain your hair's natural protective properties." Colorist Adrienne Wallace told Women's Health, "Because the hairs are thicker naturally, dark hair is better at camouflaging damage than light hair. It weighs down flyaways and split ends." As if being associated with intelligence, mystery, and self-sufficiency wasn't enough, brown hair also comes with fascinating health facts. A 2009 study published in the journal Annals of Neurology researched the connection between hair color and Parkinson's disease, a degenerative brain condition. The study determined that those with dark hair were less genetically predisposed to developing Parkinson's disease compared to people with lighter hair colors. In other words, the darker your hair, the lesser your risk of developing Parkinson's. On the other hand, Folks with darker hair retain more nicotine in the body compared to light-haired folks, according to a 2006 study published in Nicotine and Tobacco Research. Although further research is required to validate these findings, the study found that nicotine tends to accumulate in tissues that contain more melanin, which darker hair has. It is important to note that this doesn't indicate that an addiction is more likely. Individuals with brown hair, like actresses Zendaya and Nina Dobrev, tend to have thick and lustrous strands that enhance their overall appearance by looking healthy and youthful.
You both want my number.
Very much so, yeah.
However, compared to their blonde-haired counterparts, brown-haired beauties sometimes need to put more effort into concealing their grays. Grays and white hair stand out more on a darker canvas, which makes them challenging to hide. To conceal your gray hair as a natural brunette, your best bet is to blend the strands with highlights or balayages. Or you can take a page out of many celebrities' handbooks and embrace your gray hair as a natural part of aging.